On the Routine with Spence on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Emma Spence.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Beyond the Routine with Spence. I am your host, Emma Spence, and tonight I have a special guest. His name is Sam Sherwinski. He is a coach at our gym. He's Nebraska gymnastics coach. He coaches us on floor and vault mostly, but you do like conditioning circuits and prepare all that good stuff too. He is from Green Bay, Wisconsin, and he was a former gymnast before going into being a gymnastics coach. He's coached at multiple NCAA gymnastics colleges so far in his career. So pass it to you. Maybe give a little bit of intro on like your family, like growing up, your background, living in Wisconsin. I don't think I've ever been to Wisconsin, so I don't even know what that's like.
It's not too different than what you know.
No.
But yeah. Cool. Well, first off, thanks for having me.
Yes, super
really
fun.
Appreciate it. Been talking about this for a while, so I'm super excited to finally be here and have some good conversation. But yeah, I guess originally from Wisconsin. Before that, Minneapolis.
Really?
Yep. So
I didn't know that.
yeah, I've lived in 4 states now. So yeah, so I was born in Minneapolis.
What?
And then
the bio was wrong.
Well, that's where I was born, but I say I'm raised in Green Bay,
Okay,
Wisconsin.
I see.
So that's definitely the majority of kind of my upbringing. And that's where I started in gymnastics as well. So started there in Green Bay and really started gymnastics because my younger sister started gymnastics first. So I was kind of one of those competitive things where it's like, oh, you're gonna do this, well, I guess I got to try it as well. So
that's exactly what happened. My younger sister started first too.
Yeah, it's family rivalry,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I started doing gymnastics. I was actually the first male gymnast at my gym. So
cool.
My coaches had never really like had a boys program or boys team or anything. So that's kind of where I started doing gymnastics. I was always at the same club, pretty much had the same coaches, and I was there from starting probably 2007, 2006 maybe, but just went back this past week visiting during Thanksgiving, and
good.
It's all the same people, same coaches, so still doing well out there. But yeah, it's kind of that's where I was raised, and ended up going to school in lacrosse, so kind of bounced around in Wisconsin, but yeah, now I'm here. So
nice. So you've coached at multiple different like collegiate gymnastics universities.
Yep.
Want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I did my undergraduate degree at University of Wisconsin lacrosse.
Okay.
So I started there as a student manager for a year, and then kind of moved into a coaching role. Learned under Allie Berry. She was a great mentor of mine. Kind of started really my passion for coaching college gymnastics. Her and Casey Crawford, who's the current head coach at the university. But learned under them for a couple of years, just kind of in that like student volunteer role.
Mm-hmm.
Finished out my degree, and then kind of moved into a little bit more of a serious assistant coaching position there, and had always coached floor and vault, and did a little bit of everything else as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know how it is. And before kind of taking that role on full time as a student, I was kind of coaching club in between things as well, and especially during COVID when college gymnastics was a little bit up in the air too. So coached club for a handful of years, but ended up doing 5 years at Wisconsin lacrosse. So that was kind of like my first stint of college coaching. And then as soon as I finished my master's degree, and just kind of was looking for the next chapter in my life, and wanted to like leave lacrosse, kind of leave Wisconsin and move on. That's when I ended up going to Lindenwood the last couple of years. So I was at Lindenwood University for 2 seasons, and with all the things that kind of transpired over the last year, ended up finding myself here. So that's kind of the coaching path and how I ended up into this position. And yeah.
Cool. So when did you retire gymnastics then? That was before you started coaching?
So I was coaching men's gymnastics, and I was also coaching rec while I was a gymnast.
Okay.
So kind of got my feet wet in the coaching world at my club, and I just when you're doing it yourself, it's pretty easy to kind of follow along with what your coaches are doing. So I had some really good mentors when I was a gymnast, and just kind of worked my way up, starting with rec level, and then coaching all the way through level 10 for men's gymnastics. And then when I found out about the opportunity coaching at Wisconsin lacrosse, I decided, I was like, okay, well, I could kind of transition into coaching women's gymnastics. And obviously being a male gymnast, you already know about women's gymnastics. And
Hmm.
my sister was a gymnast, and she ended up doing college gymnastics as well. So just kind of was already in that world. So transitioned out of men's gymnastics, and then started coaching women's for about 6 months or so before started really coaching at Wisconsin lacrosse. So that's my coaching has kind of always overlapped with my gymnastics career.
Hmm.
I was a level 10 gymnast myself. I did gymnastics pretty much all the way through high school. And it was always a dream of mine to be a college gymnast, as it is for most athletes.
Hmm.
And kind of, as you get into the higher stages and more advanced gymnastics, injuries are a pretty big thing. And
Hmm.
tore my labrum in my shoulder. So I had, at the time, I thought it was season ending,
Hmm.
but ended up kind of taking me out of the career,
Yeah.
and I just kind of found like a bigger passion for coaching. I enjoyed that side of it a lot more, and I was definitely a lot better in the gymnastics world as a coach than I was as an athlete. Just definitely understand it from an outside perspective a lot better. So, um, yeah, that's kind of the transition from being level
Interesting.
10,
Hmm.
moving in college world. So.
Do you think like that injury is the reason why you went into coaching? Like if you didn't get injured and you like finished off like your career like the way that you almost like wanted to, do you think you still would have ended up being a coach, or was it more like because you feel like you didn't finish it, like you wanted to fulfill it in a different way?
In the moment, it was definitely more so of this was just filling the void.
Mhm.
That was kind of like, okay, like if I'm not going to do this myself, like I can't get out of the gym every single day.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the fix. It was the fix in the moment of, okay, this will replace it. And then I started doing CrossFit competitively instead.
Okay.
So I was still getting like my own competitiveness while also being in the gym.
Mhm.
But my entire life, just growing up as a kid, and you do like they all your teachers teach you about jobs and like, oh, what do you want to do? What are you gonna do? And my entire life, I always either wanted to be a professional athlete or a coach.
Okay.
And when I was a really young kid, it could have been for any sport. And then,
Mhm.
as I got older, I didn't really know that this is what I wanted to do for the long term until a little bit later. But looking back at it, I'm definitely not surprised that this is kind of the path that I ended up on.
Cool. Was there like any big differences or changes when you were like doing men's gym and then coaching men's gym and then all of a sudden coaching women's gym?
Big time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like what?
Well, first off, it's so different that I can never imagine going back.
Really?
Yeah. And I mean, it's the same sport technically, but as you know, they're very, very different.
Mhm.
And um, I definitely think that when specifically coaching club, when you're working with younger athletes, coaching coaching boys is definitely a lot more challenging. The just kind of like the support of men's gymnastics is pretty rough as is, and there's not a lot of clubs. Two, there's
Mhm.
not a lot of coaches, and three, there's just not a lot of like fandom behind it. So the few kids that are interested in pursuing it, you really have to do whatever you can to like keep them in it. Whereas women's gymnastics, there's thousands of athletes and thousands of opportunities out there. So it's a lot. You can like as a coach, you can kind of decide like what path you want to go down with your team or with your business.
Mhm.
With men's gymnastics, it's kind of like, all right, like this is what I have, and you just gotta make the most of it. So if they want to be really good, then you can try to make them really good. If they're just there as like an after school activity,
Mhm.
well, then you're gonna have to provide that for them. And if you are trying to put them into a box that they don't want to be in, then they're probably going to quit because there's a lot of
Yeah.
other options for boys at that age. So, um, yeah, I mean, really, the big difference the just kind of the overall like the maturity and the interest level is definitely very different at that age. So, um, as you move into college, the just the overall competitiveness is relatively the same. And like I would definitely love to coach men's college gymnastics. Like
Mhm.
I have the eye for it, and I'm very passionate about those types of things. And um but it's just, it's just a lot different, just the overall opportunity and all the things. And I'm definitely just much more passionate about women's gymnastics, and
Hmm.
I definitely think that I can make a much bigger impact overall. So
Cool. I love that.
yeah.
So, like, overall, how has your experience in Nebraska been as a coach? And then we can get into other aspects of just being in Nebraska too.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming to Nebraska has been the absolute best thing that's ever happened to me. Like,
Oh.
and I truly, truly believe that. And I'm, I hope that like the people around me can see that,
Hmm.
and the people that aren't around me on a daily basis, they ask me that same question and I tell them that, because of just holistically all around, the support has been amazing.
Hmm.
The community, the fans, the people that work at the university, the athletes, the other coaches. I mean, there's really not like one piece of the puzzle that's missing. And also just being from Wisconsin, the community and the culture here, and just the people in the community, it's very similar.
Hmm.
It hasn't been like a very large learning curve, and um, just it reminds me a lot of home. And I've been living here for 6 months now,
Yeah.
pretty much on the dot, and I feel like I've been here for years, just because it took about a week for me to feel settled in.
Hmm.
And
That's really good.
I went home for Thanksgiving last week, and coming back, it's like, okay, now I'm actually coming back home.
Hmm.
Whereas like I'm visiting family
Yeah.
back in Wisconsin. So it's been just a really, really surreal experience. And um, you know, things work out how they're supposed to. So I'm very happy that this kind of opportunity presented itself, and I'm very, very happy with myself for making the decision and for having the people around me to kind of push me in this direction.
Hmm. That's awesome. So we were just talking about this before the show. And so, okay, when did you start coaching? That was probably like June when you like first came in and it was like just me.
Yeah, so that was probably the maybe the second week of June.
Okay. And it
Yeah.
was like your first week here
Mhm,
coaching. And basically, I was training by myself because I was training for it would have been Olympic trials, I
mhm.
think. And
It was the
every
week that you were leaving.
yeah, and everyone was gone because it was like summer break and I had to train there by myself and I don't know where the other coaches were cuz like was Brian there or was it literally just you and me?
Brian and Heather were also there, but they were off kinda doing
Yeah.
things. And, um, the practice that you're talking about, Brian was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they were just like, I don't know, they just told you to spot me and I was like, "Okay." Well, cuz yeah, there was no other floor spotter. I was like, "Okay." Like I just met you like the same day or like the day before and I was like, "Okay, like have you done this before?" You're like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay." So like it's going to be okay. Like I'm not going to die and you're like, "Yeah. Yeah, it'll be good." And I was like, "Okay." And I could tell you were nervous cuz you also didn't really know me
Mhm.
and I didn't really know you and I was like, "Okay, we're just going to do this." And you're like, "Yep, we're going to do this." And I was like, okay. And I went to do one of my passes and I was scared because I haven't done it in a little bit. And it was fine. You spotted me. We were good. It was
Yep.
great. And like, I don't know, the amount of trust that I had to put into you in that moment. I was like so nervous to do that because I was sick. I was really sick coming back from Colombia too. So I
Mhm.
was just a mess. But yeah, that was like I gained so much trust for you in that moment because there was no one else in the gym watching. I was like, no one's like, yeah, there was just nothing. I was like, okay, it's just me and Sam. I'm gonna have to do this pass and it's gonna be good. And it was good.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, we had met kind of just like officially,
Yeah.
like in passing and like in different meetings. And that was the first practice that I was there coaching you.
Yeah.
And I remember being a little nervous too, because it was June,
Hmm.
and June is normally like preseason, like, or off season, and
Yeah.
working upgrades and things. And like I didn't really know where you were at in your training. And then it's like, okay, you're only going to be here for 2 days. Like I can come to practice and show up, and you're like, all right, full floor routine right now in June. Oh yeah, you want me to spot you? All right, let's make it happen. And yeah, I mean, you're a rock star athlete, so I had full trust in you. And it was definitely, that was a really good introduction. So that was a fun way to
Yeah,
kind of
you
kick
just
it off.
really dove right into it,
You know,
spotting an elite floor routine, elite gymnastics.
you know,
Yeah, that was crazy. That was fun though. But yeah, definitely earned a lot of trust from me, like right off the bat, because I was so stressed.
well, that's good. Yeah,
Stressed. So, you live like in the Haymarket area. Are there any little things around there you like to do? There's so much to do down there.
yeah. No, I mean, I love living in downtown Lincoln. I mean,
Mhm.
the people. first off, the people are just that's what makes the place. I've lived in 4 different states in my life, and so far this has probably been my absolute favorite living experience, and it's just solely because of the people. There's a lot of different like restaurants and like fun little coffee shops, little stores, like different things that you can do. But the people that work everywhere and just the people that you can kind of interact with, like that's what makes it so fun. So I love living downtown and kind of being just like within the local businesses here. But yeah, I mean it's been an awesome experience. I have a dog, so
Oh, yes, your
yeah,
dog is so cute.
yeah, thank you. But yeah, he loves being down here too. I mean, there's always other dogs and other people to kind of
Yeah.
hang out with, and yeah, I mean, it's been an awesome experience. I definitely have really enjoyed just kind of learning the culture of Lincoln and just seeing what it all has to offer.
So, okay, my American knowledge is not the best, but you said 4 states. So that would be like Minnesota, Wisconsin, Nebraska, and where was Lindenwood?
In Missouri,
Missouri.
hmm
Okay. Aren't those like all Midwest?
all in the Midwest.
So like what makes Nebraska so different if all the other ones are also
Yeah,
Midwest?
I mean, there's definitely a lot of similarities for
Okay.
sure. And it kind of goes just back to the point of the people make the place.
Okay.
There's restaurants and stores and like fun different things to do in all of those states and in all of those cities. Um, but if you don't have like the right people around you, then it doesn't really matter what there is or what the lack thereof is. Some of the places that I've lived in, there's not a concert or some like festival going on every single weekend, so you just kind of have to make do with what you have. And whether I mean that could just be hanging out at a friend's house playing some board games, or maybe
Mhm.
it's going to a movie. And um, I've loved everywhere that I've lived, and I've definitely had a um, very fortunate upbringing and very very good people around me my entire life. But the people here are what make this town and like this whole experience so much better.
Mhm.
And um, just the overall culture and the support behind the university and the entire athletic department, and um, the Midwest nice is
Mhm.
very very noticeable here. So it's been um, it's it's definitely everywhere is unique, and I don't think that one place or another is better, because again it's just about who's there and
Mhm.
who you surround yourself with. But um yeah, I mean all 4 states in the Midwest, and I've lived in a handful of different cities within those states as
Okay.
well. So um but yeah, I'm starting to kind of get out of my Lincoln bubble and
Mhm.
learn a little bit more about just like Nebraska itself, and
Okay.
explore more of Omaha and some of the smaller towns as well. But Lincoln is definitely it holds a special place in my heart. And it's been 6 months, but man, it feels like it's been years.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah,
So, okay. I remember you telling me this. I didn't tell you I was gonna bring this up, but you're talking about, your upbringing. Isn't your dad a chef? Like, I
yeah,
remember you were bringing that up,
yeah.
like, professional chef?
hmm
So, like, how was that growing up?
Oh man. Well, first off, it was a blessing and a curse because I was blessed with the my dad is an amazing man. He was awesome growing up and taught me a lot of really good things, and he provided for my entire family.
Mhm.
I'm very very blessed, and he he always prepared really nice meals, usually breakfast, lunch, dinner. We were never hungry, but the bad thing that came along with that is that I never learned how to cook.
Oh, I could see that.
And
Yeah.
also just being in gymnastics, like go to school all day long, then I'm
Mhm.
at gym all night.
Mhm.
So by the time I'm home, it's like 9 o'clock growing
Yeah.
up. And well, my dad already has dinner made,
Mhm.
so there weren't really many learning opportunities. So that's something that I've kind of had to take on in my adult life and
Yeah.
learn how to do that for myself. But yeah, he was a professional chef. He lived that life for um, 15, 20 years and
Wow.
got out of it. But now, I mean, he's still, he can
Yeah, he could
still
still
he
do
can
it.
still whip some stuff up every
Yeah.
now and again. And yeah, I mean, Thanksgiving
Oh my
this past
gosh.
week was awesome.
I
So
can imagine.
yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. Is there anything, like, specifically that you just love that he would make?
Oh my gosh, my dad is a master on the grill,
Okay.
an absolute master. I mean, he can grill, he can smoke pretty much any type of meat that you can think of. He can do it better than you've ever had. So
Okay.
but yeah, he was he went to culinary school. He worked in very numerous like famous restaurants in Minneapolis. He's been on cooking TV shows and magazines. Like he did that whole lifestyle.
What shows? I love watching
It
cooking
was a
shows.
bunch of like local shows,
Okay.
like local news,
Okay.
like, and then he worked with a bunch of like famous chefs back in the day that kind of blew up as well. So he was in the cooking world for a long time. But
That's cool.
yeah, it's really interesting because my entire family, we all have very, very different lives. But then when we go home at the end of the day, like we are very cohesive and
Hmm.
definitely have a very, very loving family. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
So you've gone to so many different sporting events at here.
Hmm.
What was your favorite sport to watch? Because like what ones have you been to? There's been like football, basketball,
Wrestling,
volleyball, wrestling.
soccer.
Oh, you've been to soccer too?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I've tried to go to everything
Yeah.
that has happened so far. I haven't been to everything, but I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm very busy, but yeah, I love sports.
Yeah.
I'm so competitive, and I just love college athletics. And Nebraska has some of the best college athletics, so it's pretty easy to go out and
Mhm.
support. And um, we normally perform really well, so it's definitely like a hobby of mine, and also just supporting the people that I get to work with on a daily basis. So um, I mean, obviously, football and volleyball are super, super fun to attend. I mean,
Yeah.
those sold out crowds and how good they are, and it's a very fun, like high production experience. But surprisingly, I had never been to a wrestling match in my
Mhm.
entire life, and went to one a couple weeks ago, and it was awesome.
Really?
It was so
I don't know if I've been
awesome.
to one before.
Yeah, and I highly recommend,
Okay.
and they're really good. We have one of the best teams in the country, so
Mhm.
that it was really fun to watch them kind of kick some butt out in the mat.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I've loved pretty much every sporting event. I mean, Nebraska does a really good job about putting on events like that, and the fans always turn out and make it even more fun. I've coached at Division 3 and a Division 2/1 school, and now obviously in the Big Ten, and um, been to a multitude of professional sporting events as well in my life. And it, like I was saying before, the people are what make it so
Yeah.
awesome. And 'cause if nobody showed up, it wouldn't be that fun.
That's true.
And it would just be like it's at practice. But when the people come out and support it, it really raises the stakes, and it just makes it a lot more exciting too. So
Hmm.
yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I haven't been to too many. I've been to volleyball once, football a couple times. I think I've been to soccer as well, but there's a couple that I'm missing that I probably should do before I graduate.
I would highly recommend going to all of them.
Okay.
Every sport that you can find
Yeah,
time
might
in your
as
schedule.
well.
I mean, you're busier than I am, so
Yeah.
but yeah, you should. I would encourage everybody to go watch any of the sporting events at
Mhm.
Nebraska. I mean, they're very, very well thought out, and all the teams that we have here and the coaches, like they put a lot of time in, and it's some of the best showings in the country, and
Mhm.
you don't really get that experience really anywhere else. So the fact that we're competitive everywhere,
Yeah.
it makes it a lot of fun.
Mhm. That's true. I'm excited for you. Actually, last year, because you guys came to Nebraska when you were part of Lindenwood.
Yep.
What'd you think of the gymnastics meet?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, Lindenwood is a smaller Division 1 school. They were Division 2 for a while, and their sporting events there, they're very competitive, but it's obviously just smaller scale than a Big Ten school. And
Mhm.
so I had been to a lot of different higher caliber Division 1 meets, especially last year.
Mhm.
But coming here was a completely different experience. I have so many people just very indirectly in my life, very indirectly involved with Nebraska.
Mhm.
Some of the coaches I was working with last year, they were alum from here.
Yeah.
I just have family and friends that are involved here, or people that were from Nebraska. So I had a lot of very high expectations, to be honest, and because people always talk about how great it is. And
Mhm.
so I just coming here, it was one of the last meets of the season, so we were
Yeah,
kind
it
of
was
like,
our senior night, right?
yep,
Yeah.
yep, yeah, it was
Cool.
senior night. And so it was a surreal experience. I mean, that was a super fun meet, and that was kind of like my first taste of what Go Big Red is. And
Mhm.
yeah, that was it's full circle moment, coming
Yeah.
back here and being a part of it on this side now. And it definitely makes me hungry to kind of experience like what this season's going to be like. So
Mhm. Yeah, that's super cool to be able to coach at one from a different school, and then you get to coach and be here.
absolutely.
Super cool. All right, we are going to head to our first break. You are listening to Beyond the Routine with Emma Spence and Sam Sherwinski.
Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through November 12th is $2 off all crackers, $2 off on grind, $3 off on salami, and buy one, get one free on stew beef. Limit of 2. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Highway 2 in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook. Their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Wellman Plumbing at 402-434-2400 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-434-2400.
Prashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Back to Beyond the Routine with Spence on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Emma Spence.
Welcome back to Beyond the Routine with Spence. I'm your host, Emma Spence, and my guest is Sam Sherwinski. He is an assistant coach of the Women's Nebraska Gymnastics team. So we were just talking a little bit about his experience and transition from everywhere he's been to Lincoln, how much he appreciates being here and loves it. And it was really nice to talk about that. Something that I think would be interesting and that we kind of mentioned earlier to talk about would be like transitioning from college to the real world. Because you've kind of just gone through that within the last couple of years. I'm about to go through that. It's going to be interesting. So maybe talk a little bit about that, what to expect, how that kind of went down, especially transitioning. You went from being a gymnast, being out of being an athlete, and how you handled all that too.
Yeah, well, first off, I was coaching throughout pretty much my entire college experience,
Okay.
but that was never the long-term plan.
Okay.
So when I was doing my undergraduate degree, I went to school for marketing. So I wanted
Okay.
to go into business, and um, I thought that was something that I was good at, and something that I could see. I definitely could still see myself doing something in that world. Definitely not as passionate about it as I am gymnastics, of course,
Yeah.
but um, I went through pretty much my entire life thinking that gymnastics was going to be kind of like chapter one.
Mhm.
I'd close the book and then move on to something else. And obviously, that's not what happened. So
Yeah.
I kind of went throughout my college experience, just really experiencing college. I made a lot of really good connections with people, and all my roommates, whatever it is that they went to study, they went on into a field within that area of study.
Mhm.
So my best friends, they kind of all went on to study about some like different science things. Some work in a lab. One went to dental school.
Oh, cool.
Another he went on and went into law school. So they kind of had like a very direct path.
Mhm.
For myself, I there was a lot of ambiguity in the future, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, well, you're gonna be fine. You have so much time," and or just find something and just try it. And if you don't want to do it, then whatever. Like you can do something else. And I mean, you pretty much generally hear the same advice from everybody. Whether it's family members or uh, people that are a little just older than you.
Mhm.
Just like what to expect and how you should go about that kind of next phase of your life. Um, and going through it myself, I just kind of did it.
Yeah.
I didn't really have this like grand plan of, like graduate, okay, and like now apply to med school, okay, go to med school, get a job, or like
Mhm.
I didn't really have that kind of just like clear path. Um, so when I got to like the end of my college career, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have a degree in business, and um, I should probably start looking for jobs. So I did. So I started looking for jobs that kind of fell underneath the umbrella of marketing, and I did a bunch of different job interviews.
Really?
I interviewed with a handful of different companies, and I really looked at those interviews as more so of an interview for them because
Mhm.
I didn't even know if I wanted to do it. So,
Yeah.
and that's really what ended up happening is I was like, wow, I'm looking at jobs that I have no interest in doing,
Mhm.
and so I just kind of had like a lot of reflection time and thinking like, okay, like what is it that makes me wanna wake up every day? Like, what is it that, like, I love to do?
Mhm.
And the reoccurring thing is gymnastics, and, gymnastics is pretty niche, so there's only, like,
Yeah.
a handful of different, like, real paths that you can go, and, um, at the time, I knew that, like, okay, college gymnastics is, like, the thing that I would like to pursue, and, um, that's what inspired me to start doing my master's degree, so then I went along that path, and now I've kind of fallen into the career that I'm in and, followed that path. So, but that's like job wise, kind of how that ended up working out for me. But I will say, like the thing that nobody really talks about, the biggest transition phase going from kind of just like, I mean, not even just college, but like just being like a kid, like being a kid going to college and you have all these friends. And um, the biggest thing that was kind of like a real transition and like a real wake up call over the last handful of years is like you I mean, people say that you can always do whatever you want in your life, and like that is so true. Like I see people that are being very successful and kind of going along a career or starting their own job or starting their own business, like whatever it is, and they're very passionate about those things. Um, Other people in my life or people that I am associated with or people that I know, maybe they choose to use their time and like their resources in a different way, and um, their version of like success is maybe not the same way that I would view success. So um that's kind of been like the biggest thing is like people always tell you, do whatever it is that you want, and like that's true. And um that's where I think like the beauty in adulthood is like you choose the life that you want to live,
Mhm.
and whether or not it's a job or if you just want to be on the street all day, like you could do that, and
Yep.
that's the beauty of America. So um but it's been definitely a wake up call to
Mhm.
kind of see like, okay, like you're on your own now, and you're not surrounded by the people that you're friends with all the time. You're not surrounded by the people that are also like like in college, everybody works really hard. Everyone's really driven, for the most part, right?
Hmm.
But you're just surrounded by like-minded people, and then when you get out into the real world, you're surrounded by a multitude of people, and that's you more often than not something that most people haven't experienced that,
Hmm.
especially when you're just kind of sheltered growing up and then going into college as well. So
Interesting. Do you have any advice? So basically, my situation is I need to figure out what to do. My major is communication studies, and then I double minoring in education and psychology. Yeah. I need to figure it out. I have like some ideas, like I'm considering getting an MBA, just like because then at least like I can still do like stuff with that. I don't know. I feel like I should get my master's in something. But I also recently started thinking that counseling could be interesting for me. I don't know. If you like don't really know what to do or you're kind of in my situation, what kind of advice would you give? Because I'm sure a lot of people out there still, especially coming out of like athletics and like I've done gym for so long for my whole life and I've been like locked on it for so long, trying to figure out what to do next. Like what like
what comes next?
yeah, what do I
Yeah,
do? I mean, I've
absolutely.
talked to you about this before.
Yeah,
Couple only a couple months ago. I had a
yeah,
meeting with you
yeah,
about this.
yeah. Yeah, no, it kind of goes back to what I was saying before. Like when you're in your bubble, you're
Mhm.
surrounded by people that are in the same bubble as you.
Yeah.
You know, so right now in college and on the gymnastics team, you're surrounded by people that work hard and are also passionate about what it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that if you're interested in maybe doing an MBA or going maybe counseling or podcasting, I don't know, whatever it is that you want to do. If you want to go back into the gymnastics world, like you could do
Mhm.
anything, you know.
Yeah.
And um, I think my biggest piece of advice to you would be like find people that are out of your bubble,
Okay.
and then that are in the bubble that you'd be interested in getting into, and
Hmm.
talk to them about it.
Yeah.
You know, like that's how I kind of found myself into this circle of
Mhm.
college gymnastics. You know, I didn't really know very much about it until I found people that were already in the circle,
Yeah.
and those are the people that can offer you the best advice. You know,
Mhm.
and like if you want to do a job that requires an MBA, or if you want to go to grad school, and if you know that the end goal is that profession or that career path, find people that have already kind of gone down that path.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's probably the best advice that I could give is one, like you should explore all those options because I
Mhm.
think all those options would be very fitting for you.
Yeah.
Definitely. You know, I
Okay.
could see you doing pretty much any of that.
Okay.
Um, but you also don't have to be all in on one thing.
Mhm.
You know, like you could do a little bit of all of those things for a while, try it out, and if you end up finding one thing that you're more passionate about, then you can give it more time.
Mhm. That's what I'm that's kinda where I feel stuck because it's like there's so many things that I could do. And, like, another thing that I realize is I feel like I've never really been in a situation to make an important life decision because it's like with gym and everything, it's like, okay, I started doing gymnastics. It's like, and everyone tells you how to do it. Everyone tells you like, if you want to be the best, you have to do this. If you want to, like, and then if once you get good in gymnastics, they're like, okay, then you try and qualify for the Olympics, and then like you go through that path. It's like, okay, I guess like I'll do that, and then you go to like you get good, and they're like, oh, when you get to this level, usually you go to college. It's like, okay, I'll go to college. I'll do like college gymnastics, and then here I am, and it's like this is kind of the end of that. Like,
Mhm.
I can't really do anything else in the sport as an athlete. Like, I could, but, like, nothing new, you know?
Yeah.
So then it's like, okay, no other decisions to make about that. And now it's like, with the rest of my life, like, now I have to figure it out myself. And I've never been in a situation where it's like, you fully, like, okay, go do what you want to do. Like, I've
Right.
never had that before. And now I'm just like, I've never made an important decision in my life and I'm stressing out.
Yeah.
But
I will say just especially kind of understanding like the gymnast mindset and how committed you have to be to like get to the point in your career where you're at. The rest of your life, there are very few things that require that much commitment.
yeah, that's
You
crazy
know,
to
so like
think.
when like in gymnastics in particular, like you make if like you want to go to the end where you're at, there are so many different levels of commitment and decisions and um just time commitments that you kind of have to get to that path.
Hmm.
Whereas like the rest of your life, like you could do a lot of different things on a lower commitment level.
Hmm.
And if you just wake up one day and you're like, you know, I don't want to do this anymore, you can just not do anymore.
Yeah,
And
that's what's
in gymnastics,
crazy.
right? Like in gymnastics, there's a lot of people involved more often than not, like your friends, your coaches, your family. your teammates. Like there's a lot of people that are involved in so much time that's gone into it to make decisions like that. But whether it's like, if you go to school, if you want to go to grad school, I mean, you could be a month in and realize I don't want to do this anymore, and then just not do it.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that's taken me a long time to kind of break out of, especially because I'm still in the gymnastics world, but now that I've got a couple years of like real life experience under my belt, that's definitely one of the first things that I've kind of started to gather a little bit. And, like making decisions, sometimes like big life decisions aren't nearly as big or drastic as they may seem.
Yeah, that's kind of what I gotta get in my head because, yeah. But that makes sense. Like, I've never really thought about it in that way. It's like, yeah, if I don't want to, like, I guess I don't have to. And I can always change it up.
Yeah, and I mean, I think
And
it's just
try
important to always have forward thinking.
Yeah.
Like as soon as you make a decision, it's like, okay, there's no good in looking back and thinking, oh, what could have been if I would have done this or done that, or like what did this decision really do? Like if you're always forward thinking and like, okay, like what's next? What if I decided to move to this one place? Like, okay, like I moved. Like now, like what's my current life? What's my life gonna be? Like there's a lot less value in thinking like, oh, what if I didn't move? Like what if I would have just stayed here? Or what if I would have done this instead? Like you can drive yourself in circles all day long doing that type of thing, and if you're forward thinking, and it's a lot easier to make bigger decisions like that.
Yeah, that does make sense, and that's helpful. So you mentioned like moving around a lot and like how like you do that in this context, but like also you moved around a lot. Is that kind of how you applied that or like handled all that? Because that must have been hard because everywhere you went, you probably had to make new friends, like start in a new place. And did you have your dog every time?
No.
Oh, I was gonna say at least you had your dog, but
well, my dog's a little bit of a newer addition to my life. So,
okay.
But I'm 25 years old. I've lived in 4 different states and more cities than that. But I haven't always kind of resided in one place, and I think there's good things and bad things that come alongside with that. And I mean, I would love to live somewhere for a long time, like if my life provided that type of opportunity, and yeah, I mean, moving is a challenge, but I also think it's just like such a wonderful thing to experience. You get to see different ways of life, and like what growing up and what your parents provide you, or like what your community is like, that's what you think is normal, and I mean, I'm sure you experienced that when you moved to the United States. You're like, oh wow, like my foundation is breaking because it's so different here. And I think it's a very valuable experience. I mean, you can get that from moving, you get it from traveling, but just seeing different people, different culture, different ways of doing things, I think it's so valuable, and you get to meet a lot of really good people along the way. So it's definitely something that I value a lot. I'm very proud of the places that I've lived, and I'm proud of where I currently live and would like to stay here for a really long time. And moving is definitely a good thing.
Nice. All right. Finish up that segment. We are heading to a break now. You are listening to Beyond the Routine with Emma Spence and Sam Sherwinski.
Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through November 12th is $2 off all crackers, $2 off on grind, $3 off on salami, and buy one, get one free on stew beef. Limit of 2. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Highway 2 in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook, their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Wellman Plumbing at 402-434-2400 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-434-2400.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Back to Beyond the Routine with Spence on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Emma Spence.
Welcome back to Beyond the Routine with Spence. I'm your host, Emma Spence. Special guest, Sam Sherwinski, assistant coach of the Nebraska women's gymnastics team. For this final segment, what are you excited or most excited for about this season?
Well, I think most excited. I'm just excited to get on the floor. I mean,
Mhm.
I've coached college gymnastics for 7 years now, and just kind of going through this preseason, I am so excited for everyone to see all the hard work that we've been putting in. I mean, you can attest to it. Everyone's kind of been working their tail off,
Yes.
and we got a lot of good gymnastics, a lot of good routines kind of on the way, and we have some really big goals ahead of us, and I think that they're definitely attainable. And kind of excited to finally, put all that hard work out to show for everybody. So
Yeah. Is there so we're going to different states. Like, I've never been to Florida. I've never been to Tennessee. Like, is there anywhere specific that you're looking forward to traveling to?
I mean, absolutely. I've been to almost all of the places that we're going to.
Okay.
There's a handful of the Big Ten schools that I have not been to yet, but Tennessee and Florida, I have both been to, and those will both be some really good experiences and some really good crowds as well. But yeah, I mean, pretty much like all the competition that we have this year it's definitely going to be competitive, and it's going to be some must-watch gymnastics, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be super fun. I think, yeah, you're right. The way that this team is looking so far and the amount of hard work that's gone into it in our inner squad last week, like that was probably the best inner squad we've ever had since I've been on the team.
That's exciting to
So
hear.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
'cause
was
I don't
super
have a frame of
exciting.
reference. So
It was super exciting. We only had like 2 like mistakes really. Everything
yeah.
else was pretty smooth. And we had so many people on both teams.
Mhm.
Like that's also something we haven't had in a very long time. So there's lots of depth, lots of hard work going into it, and everyone kept it really cool under pressure,
Mhm.
which is really awesome, especially in November.
Well, it's exciting. I mean, well, for me personally, I don't have a frame of reference. This is my first
That's true.
season here, and so kind of just what I see on a daily basis is what I expect and what I should expect. And um, I mean, I think that what we showed in our inner squad was what we do on a daily basis. There weren't really a lot of surprises. It was some really clean and consistent gymnastics across the board, and I mean, us as a coaching staff, we have very high expectations for you all, but it's only because you guys earn it. And um, what we showed at the inner squad and what we're hoping to show at our next inner squad in a couple weeks, it's what you guys do, and you guys definitely earn that opportunity, and you earn the ability to be coached hard, and that's why I'm so excited, because what I get to see and what I get to work with on a daily basis is what makes me want to wake up every day. It's so fun, and it's really good gymnastics, and we're definitely going to be forced to be reckoned with.
I'm super excited, especially this season, the new schools in the Big Ten. How do you think that's gonna go?
Oh,
Like,
I'm
just because
excited.
everything's gonna be not super different, but like we're not gonna have Big Fives. It's gonna be like four,
Big fours,
Big
yeah.
Fours. So there's just because of the new teams coming in. But yeah, I think it's gonna be really interesting, and I really hope because there are some bigger schools that are joining the Big Ten that we just get more like views, spectators
Mhm.
overall, more fans,
Yeah,
and just
absolutely.
yeah, teach people or get like Nebraska gymnastics on the map. I think that would be really cool, and this is a great opportunity to do that.
No, it's exciting, and I mean, just across the Big Ten, there are 12 schools that have gymnastics, and UCLA and Washington joining the Big Ten are the newest additions. So yeah, there'll be Big Fours this year instead of Big Fives, and yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to be in the conversation for sure. I mean, not even just on the Big Ten, but also on the national stage, and I mean, it's a testament to what you guys do, and it's something that we're also passionate about. And I mean, we show up to practice every day, and like I know you guys feel it, and us as a staff, we feel it. But like, there's a spark there, and just having that inner squad last week, I think, was just kind of proof for
Mhm.
everybody to see it in action. And yeah, it's going to be super exciting to kind of be one of those schools that are in the conversation for Big Ten, and yeah, I mean, so excited.
I think another thing is that helps, I guess, with like the vibes and stuff going into this season is that we have so many seniors, and like so many of us are just like wanting to give this last year everything we have and enjoy it as much as we can and just make the most out of it. So having 8 seniors on the team all having that mentality, I think is super helpful. And it's just like you can feel it in the gym. Like people aren't taking advantage of things. Like
Hmm.
like we come in, there's intention, excitement, and like it shows, and
Yeah.
that's super special.
No, I mean, it's this team. I will say it's the leadership and just overall structure of how things are. It's very very strong, and having that many seniors, and just that the leadership from the more experienced people really helps the team. And there's a lot less pushing that us as a staff have to do, because the team wants it.
Mhm.
And like it's not even just the seniors that want it, but like you guys are inspiring the younger ones and the new ones to also want that, and it makes the environment in the gym easy. And even on the hard days where the gymnastics is hard, the conditioning's hard, like it's still easy because of everybody in the gym wanting it. And
Yeah.
it definitely comes from the experienced seniors and wanting to make the most of your last year.
I think that's super special, and even today, I don't know if you noticed the vibes in the gym today, they were awesome.
Yeah, they're fire.
Like, everyone was so excited to be back, goofing around. I mean, my group, we were giggling the whole day, like, about, like, nothing. Like, it she like, we were on beam, and Molly gave us an assignment, we all walk away, and we're like, "What'd she say?" Like, we were just, like, so, like, just excited, and
Yeah.
we're having fun with it that we were just, like,
Hmm. Yeah, I
enjoying
mean,
it.
it can be hard to come back from a break,
Yeah.
and just when you're home and you're comfortable, and now you got to come back to real life and you got to start working hard again. But no, today was really fun,
Yeah, I was
and
sup
like I
not s
love being there.
yeah. I was not, like, surprised, but, like, I was kinda surprised because usually it's not like that. But everyone was, like, actually excited, and then in lineup when Heather was, like, counting down the amount of practices left until season and, like, training days in general, it's like That's crazy. And I
Yeah.
think that got everyone going. We're like, wow, just a couple weeks.
It's right around the corner. Yeah.
And
I
then
mean,
we get
it's
into it.
going to be here before we know it.
Yeah, that's gonna be super fun. I'm super excited for all of that.
Yeah. Well, this has been awesome.
Yes, thank you so much for being on here. Yeah, it's been really good. Lots of good conversations. So
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. I'd love to come back again.
yes, no, for sure. Even during season, we can talk about how the season's going.
Absolutely.
All right, awesome. Well, that is a wrap of tonight's show. You are listening to Beyond the Routine with Emma Spence and Sam Sherwinski.